Hello and welcome to this roundtable for London for Business Events. It's great that you get a taste of the city from the comfort of your own homes through virtual. I think this platform looks incredible and it could be a really great way to supplement any live events as we get back to live. So just for a bit of an overview of this session, I just want to take you through who London and Partners are, because you might hear London Convention Bureau referred to as London and Partners. So give you a bit of insight into that. Talk about why bringing your events to London. The list of reasons is endless, but I'll try not to labour the point too much. And we'll also talk about, obviously, how London has responded during COVID-19 and moving forwards to get, business events and travellers back into the city, which leads nicely into what's new and how we've innovated, even while London's been shut and we haven't been so busy. And then we'll talk about building back and the future and kind of the ethos that we think is going to be really important to us as an organisation and also the city. And hopefully a lot of that will resonate with you as meetings and events planners as well. So hello, I'm Rachael Boraston. I'm the head of Destination UK. So I predominantly look after the UK market for London Convention Bureau. We have different people who look after different markets. So if you're from anywhere else in the world anyway, please do feel free to come forwards to me if you have any questions or even any inquiries, and I can field you to the right person. So talking about London and Partners and London Convention Bureau. So London and Partners is the business growth and destination agency for London. So we're part of the Mayor's office. We're a social enterprise, which we combine purpose with commercial rigour. So we're funded by grants and our partners and our portfolio of venture businesses, which means that the service that we can offer and provide is completely complimentary. It's free of charge for you guys. And it's always impartial because our revenue streams come not from monetizing, but from our partners and our portfolios of venture business. So the mission statement for London Partners is to create economic growth that is resilient, sustainable and inclusive. And that obviously involves the Convention Bureau. We all know that tourism and the meetings industry is hugely lucrative. And that's kind of where the London Convention Bureau comes in to promote the destination and also to help to connect you with the best partners that can provide that service for you. I always say that you can come to London and have a completely different experience every time you come, just because of how diverse the destination is. So many different pockets and boroughs of the city to be discovered. So we can help to connect you with the partners that will help you to find that. Whether it's for meetings, incentives, congresses coming to London, we've got that network that we can connect you to. So our four main kind of pillars that we can support you with are full venue finding services. We can assist you with site inspections and accommodation searches. We've got really comprehensive planning toolkits and promotional material if you're trying to sell the destination into your client as well. And we can also give you access to insights, sector experts and speakers, which really will help to elevate your event to something completely, phenomenal and really special. So our sector expertise kind of spans across finance, business services and technology, including fintech, cybersecurity. I'm sure there's a lot of technology clients out there as well for you guys. Also the creative industries, video gaming and esports is huge. We've actually just won an esports tender for a major citywide event here in London. Urban, so the clean tech, the sustainability, something that's really close to our hearts here in London. And then innovations and life sciences, so health tech, med tech, biotech, which obviously is really relevant in the current times. So, as I said, hundreds and hundreds of reasons as to why you would bring your event to London. But here's just a snapshot of a few of them. And I have to say, I think this might be slightly out of date because, and you'll see why when I come into what's new. We've got 150,000 plus hotel rooms from the budget to the bougie. So whether you're looking for a more sympathetic price point or you're going really 5-star luxury deluxe, we've got something for everyone and in every corner of the city, really. Our accessibility is really second to none, I would say. We've got direct flights from over 390 destinations, and we've got obviously the train links to mainland Europe, so the Eurostar. We've got over 1,000 venues from the contemporary to the historic. And it wasn't always the way, but our cuisine is celebrated across the world now with, over 66 Michelin-starred restaurants, but also, the more kind of accessible dining experiences, the casual dining, like our food markets. And Taste of London is an amazing food festival that happens twice a year in London, which will kind of give you access to all of the culinary delights of the city. We've got over 2,000 years of history, and that really shows in some of our iconic buildings, which have been repurposed for venues or hotels. But we've also got the contemporary as well. So you can literally unlock the city for whatever purpose, for whatever industry. And then we've got 857 art galleries, 193 museums. So we really do pride ourselves on our culture and our history. As I mentioned about the connectivity, we've got the most direct flights with new carriers and routes to 6 airports. Our airport rail connections are amazing. Not only do you have the tube to get across the city, but we've also got the Heathrow Express. We've now got the Elizabeth line, which is coming mid-2022. We are on track for that now, finally. And that will connect us across the city and also across the country. And then our Eurostar rail connections include Amsterdam, Paris, and Brussels. And for you Canadians and Americans, we've got the e-gate access for you guys. So I think as we're all sat here on a virtual event, it would be a bit silly to not mention COVID and our response to the crisis. So as here we are, we've really pivoted to be able to facilitate virtual events. So if you're doing a big virtual event to an international delegation, you can supplement smaller events here in London by kind of getting that sense of place out through virtual. You could do it using VII events, or you can do it using a backdrop or streaming the event. We've had heightened health and safety protocols in line with COVID-19, and our new product has just absolutely exploded. It's hard for even me to keep up. So if you do need help accessing that, then that's where I can come in. In terms of virtual ready venues, if you're looking to use something to stream, I just wanted to kind of give you a bit of a snapshot of who has really led the way in terms of upgrading their technology. So it's not only been the venues that you would expect it from. So Tobacco Dock is a very technology forward-facing venue, and as is the Science Museum. They've upgraded their material anyway. They've now got HD screens, they've got cameraman, camera crews to help to enhance your event. But it's also more of the unusual venues that you wouldn't necessarily think that would happen in. So Royal Lancaster is a very prestigious hotel just off Hyde Park. They've actually invested in a full studio. It's called Studio 19. I went to see it last night actually, and as a media studies student, I absolutely lost my mind. The back of house is incredible. They've got teleprompters, they've got camera crew, they've got, all of the AV techies on hand to help you. And then also Central Hall Westminster, a Grade 2 listed building, the Kimpton Fitzroy, they've invested in their technology as well. So you can be in a beautiful, traditional venue, Grade 2 listed building, but have state-of-the-art cutting edge technology, which I think is really exciting. In terms of health and safety, when we do get back to live, when we make that journey back and we all start to meet face to face, which I hope is, beginning to happen now, our venues, our suppliers, our hotels have all really sought to make people feel as safe as possible and introduce that peace of mind. So we adhere to something called We're Good to Go, which is a Visit Britain, Visit England accreditation, thinking about extra health and safety, extra cleaning, social distancing to help people feel safe and secure in the knowledge that they're going to, be as protected from COVID as possible. And also that kind of extends to TfL, our tube network as well. The network is cleaner than ever, about time. It really needed it. So we've rolled out an enhanced cleaning regime. Every night the bus touch points are wiped down, and 14,000 shelters are wiped down twice a week. There's over 1,000 hand sanitizing points available across the TfL network. So, for us who now are in that routine of constantly cleaning and making sure that we're all sanitized, that's a real, peace of mind piece for us. So I just wanted to maybe take a look back to 2019 and 20 and give some of the new openings a bit of airtime to let you know just how much London has innovated over COVID. So the Standard London and the Treehouse London are new properties that came into the city in 2019 and 20. The Treehouse in central London, it's very sustainably led. It's beautiful, amazing scenes over the city and the most amazing Mexican food. The Standard London is in King's Cross, so it's just a stone's throw away from the St Pancras Renaissance, which you are in at the moment in your virtual world. And it's a very contemporary, cool. I think you have these brands in America. I'm not sure about Europe, but it's one of the first to come to the UK, definitely the first in London, and that's in an era of huge regeneration in London, in King's Cross. The Mayfair townhouse is very cool. It spans across 15 Georgian townhouses. So they bought all of these properties and then knocked them all through, and it's got the most quirky boutique feel. The staff there are really aware of the surrounding area. So you can get a very authentic experience in the Mayfair townhouse by really tapping into their knowledge and expertise and, creating an event that surrounds Mayfair. The Biltmore Mayfair, another, more regeneration in Mayfair. Hard Rock Hotel London, we're all familiar with the Hard Rock Hotel brand, I'm sure. Huge musical influence there, and in an amazing area in the West End. And then Great Scotland Yard, which again is a hugely historic building. So what's new in London now and coming up? As I said, sometimes it feels hard to keep up. But in terms of new developments, as I said, King's Cross has had a huge amount of regeneration. King's Cross, the Renaissance in Pancras has always been an iconic building here. It's beautiful. It's very well connected. It connects to the train station, which can bring delegates in from Europe. But the surrounding area has now had some real elevation, and you can almost create a microcosmic event in this area of London if you wanted to. Battersea Power Station, another icon in the London skyline. This has actually now been repurposed for event space, for residential, for restaurants, bars, and we've even extended the Northern Line tube network to make it more accessible. So that's a really exciting project that has been recent and is now ongoing. Olympia London, it's one of our large event spaces. This is actually being renovated at the moment. It won't be ready until 2024. But that's really exciting because it's going to give it a bit of a facelift, and with that renovation, it just means a bit of regeneration in the area in the west of London. Royal Docks, we think of Canary Wharf, so very much the finance area of London, the new kind of upcoming finance area, or finance area. So Royal Docks has had a huge amount of regeneration. There's actually the Royal Docks Museum, which is a really cool event venue, which kind of looks back to the history of the Royal Docks and all of our import and export history, and then puts it in a kind of a contemporary event space as well. White City is amazing for the media, and East Bank, which is Queen Elizabeth, which is around the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, kind of throws back to our 2012 Olympic legacy and kind of continues that by that regeneration, and some amazing venues like the Copper Box all reside in that area. So more hotels, newly opened hotels last year now, because we are in January. So the Londoner, right in the heart of Leicester Square, that was built in line with our sustainability ethos as a city. So that every turn from concept to completion, that has been built with sustainability in mind. And even as they operate, it's a very sustainably led hotel, but it is so plush, so bougie, so, 5-star, right in the beating heart of London in Leicester Square. The Pan Pacific is another beautiful hotel. It's the first Pan Pacific in Europe, and it's come to London. It's more in the finance district, the old finance district of London. Beautiful ballroom, as you can see, amazing food, gorgeous rooms with just the most amazing views out over the London skyline. Nobu Portman Square as well is a new one, another Nobu flagship hotel in London. We've also got the Canopy by Hilton, London City. So that's in our Aldgate area. That's, again, another area of complete regeneration and investment here. And it also, again, looks to take from the local community. So if you have any CSR projects that you want to entwine with your programme, London, the Canopy Hilton London City is a really good one to incorporate, because you're helping the people of that area, you're helping the suppliers of that area, and you're investing in that area, which can be a really nice touch and a really nice story to bring to your events. We've spoken about the Mayfair Townhouse, the Fairmont Windsor Park, a little bit of countryside living in London. And then we've got renovations. So not only are we building and repurposing buildings here in London, we're also taking what we already have and just giving it a little bit of a nip and tuck, if you will. So the Hilton London Metropole, a huge conference hotel in Paddington, another area of huge growth and regeneration. It's got 2 ballrooms and 28 meeting rooms. So huge, amazing space, and it's beautiful. It's been really well done. It's a very contemporary hotel, and also a big sustainability ethos with their catering, which is farm to fork, and they're really conscious of their food miles. The Carlton Tower Jumeirah, overlooking Cadogan Gardens in Knightsbridge, so a very kind of affluent, opulent area, nice for VIP events as well. And then the Dilly, again, in the heart of London, had a little bit of a facelift. It's got a ballroom for 206 meeting rooms. It doesn't stop there though, guys. So, now we're in 2022 and beyond, we're looking at some really, really exciting projects coming to London. Some of my favourites, the First Peninsula in London, the Chancery Rosewood, it will be the second Rosewood in London, in the old US Embassy building. So we're taking that building and repurposing it for something here in London. And again, with the Admiralty Arch Waldorf Astoria, a hugely historic building that is now going to be a hotel, which I cannot tell you how excited I am about seeing that. And then, of course, the venues. We've got Woods Quay, which is on the Thames, overlooking the iconic skyline. Again, quite sustainably led venue there. The Reveller at the Tower of London. So they've upped their event space. They've got very historic event space traditionally with the White Tower and the Jewel House. But this is kind of a panoramic contemporary structure, which is going to feature really heavily alongside the Queen's Jubilee this year with London in Bloom. Which I'm really excited to see as well. They always do such amazing activations there. And then Illuminate at the Science Museum, which is kind of a fun contemporary venue. I also want to talk about the Excel for your large scale event. So this is a 3D rendering of how the Excel is going to look. So the Excel have already started digging out and planning their extension, which is essentially going to double their capacity. Again, this area is having huge regeneration. It's great for kind of being close to Canary Wharf. There's lots of hotels that you can use to supplement this area. You're also right on the water, but the Excel is a huge kind of big blank canvas box that you can use for huge events and congresses. So that's really exciting. That will be done by 2024 as well. So thinking about building back better, and I'm aware that I've only got a couple of minutes, so I'll keep this one quite brief. Future thinking, we're thinking about what's going to be important to our industry and so important to London. Obviously, the digitization piece, we've got travel with purpose. You know, we're getting back to travel. So when we do, it has to be for a reason. It has to be for a purpose. So you're going to be thinking really carefully about which destination you come to. Obviously, it should be London. Innovation, leisure travel. So that's a blend of business and leisure. So if you are doing that travel with purpose piece, you want to extend, you want to do more in London, then that's a really attractive offering. And then green and sustainable, and that's something that I really want to focus on as we move forwards as an industry. So sustainability for tourism in London is something that's really close to our heart. Our mayor has an ambition to make London a net zero carbon city by 2030. And so we're trying to implement that and think about how that will affect our events ecosystem. So not only as a company are we leading by example, and we're committing to the race to zero, we're also growing the green economy. So we're promoting London as a leading green clean tech hub. So if you're working with your clients who think that that's important, then London is the place to go. And then our transition to net zero. So we are positioning London as a sustainable destination. We're accelerating the transition to net zero by working with our partners to help them to become more carbon conscious, just as we are. Might surprise you to know that we are the world's first national park city. I know people think of London and the skyline, how busy it is and how urban it is, but we've got a huge amount of green space. So we are the world's first national park city. We've got a healthy street strategy, which prioritizes walking and cycling. So again, from an events perspective, not only do your delegates get to get out and about and see more by walking and cycling, they're also kind of taking care of the planet, taking care of themselves. We're committed to clean air with the October ULEZ, which is an ultra low emission zone, has expanded. So the central area has seen a drop in NO2 concentrations by 44%, which is huge. We're designing, vibrant, people-friendly spaces to really kind of build out those business ecosystems, those green business ecosystems. And as I mentioned before, the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park is a huge area that is focused on that. And, a study of 27 of the world's most popular tourist attractions said that the 5 London attractions made the ranking. That includes the National Gallery and the Tower of London. So we've already got sustainable tourist attractions. The Natural History Museum, Bagdura's top spot, is the most eco-friendly tourist attraction. So we're already on the path. As I say, we've got a huge amount of 160 restaurant brands and restaurants that are trying to fit into the Sustainable Restaurant Association's Food Made Good program. And this can carry over into your events when you're planning those events with something green in mind. We're working with venue planners to help to understand their sustainability ethos and help them to even gain their sustainability accreditation. We're doing a huge amount of work to help our partners do that. We're also encouraging travel that does not negatively impact our environment. So as I mentioned before, the Eurostar, we've got hydrogen buses, we've got electric taxis. We want kind of, with virtual having such a boom. We want that hybrid element, that virtual element, to kind of reduce those carbon emissions and that impact on the city. And food, it's a huge part of our events, isn't it? Everybody always remembers the food. So we've just got some sensible suggestions as to how you could kind of make sure that you're not contributing to food waste and things that you can attribute to your events as well. So that's probably all I have time for. I know I've run over by 2 minutes, so I'm very, very sorry. This is just my kind of contact details, but if you are really interested in hearing more about London, or if you want any more information on any of the things that I've spoken about, then please do follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. You can connect with me on that email address. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to speak with you because, quite honestly, I could talk about London forever. Does anyone have any questions? Or I know that was a lot of information to take in. Great. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining. Enjoy the rest of the event, and please do connect as and where you can.